Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Sorry, I'm losing my voice. That was the quietest bom dia you've probably ever heard.
No, it's good. Now it's afternoon here, so it's boa tarde.
Boa tarde.
Yes, boa tarde.
I love Brazil. I got to go to a Comic-Con in Brazil for New Mutants, and I was like, man, the people in Brazil love movies. Like more than Comic-Cons I've been to here. I was like, they're passionate.
We are very passionate.
Yeah.
We are very excited for Comic-Con. Maybe you can return someday.
Yes,
It'd be
I
nice.
would love to. Well, one of my producers is from Brazil. Her name's Flavia, so I'm hoping she'll drag us there eventually.
Amazing. I hope to see you here.
Yes, please.
So, guys, while watching the movie, I noticed that Morgan only starts doing what she really wants once her whole life falls apart. She goes from being the predictable mom to someone who starts living on her own terms. So, Allison, how was your process to show that transformation?
It's really fun to go from playing someone who's like erudite, responsible, organized, type A, to just falling apart. Honestly, there's something very cathartic about it. In my own life, when something's going awry, it happens very quietly and boringly. I need to go be by myself for a little while. I don't beat up cars or yell into the air. So it was really fun to shepherd Morgan through the rage parts of the morning. Obviously the sadness is harder to access, but one of the things I think the movie does so well is it shows the way these people are contending with grief in that very dynamic, unpredictable way.
Your parents saw the movie and said, tell me if I'm wrong, said they've never seen you scream like that.
They've never seen me do that. They've never seen me full of rage like that. And they were both kind of intimidated.
And I really love the scene that you're breaking his car. It was amazing. You can feel the anger in your character, So I really loved seeing this side. Josh, the movie explores heavy themes like grief and betrayal, but it also talks about love and second chances in such a fun and heartwarming way. So I'm really curious, how did you balance the drama with the lighter moments?
I mean, I guess that's what I've always done to some degree or another. I mean, this one bears similarities to Stuck in Love and Fault in Our Stars in terms of it involves relationships between parents and teenagers and messy family dynamics and things like that. I just think at the end of the day, it's like you want people to go to the movies and smile and laugh and cry in a good way. They can cry in a bad way earlier, but at the end they got to cry in a good way. So, it's just, you want something that'll make you feel the way the book made me feel when I read it. And it's like, it made me want to call my mom and it made me want to talk to my daughter and all those things. So I think, I think life goes on and love continues whether people pass away or not. And, this movie is really about that. So I don't know. I always think of it as hopeful and funny and warm, less so than sad. Even though it's funny, it deals with heavy stuff, but it's also the way Colleen writes, where it's I talk about some of my filmmakers like Cameron Crowe or whatever, and it's all about that balance of no matter what's going on in life, funny stuff is going to happen and be said, That's just the nature of life.
So, Dave, I saw another interview where you mentioned that playing Jonah, the good guy, was really different for you since that's not the kind of character you usually play. So I'm curious, how was that experience for you?
It was great. It was great. It was a big part of the reason I wanted to do this movie is to play a character that feels slightly different than some of the more morally corrupt characters I've played in the past. And then also to be a part of a genre that I've never really done before. This is very much a romantic drama. And I've had romance or drama in these other films that I've done, but never specifically in this genre. And it was great. I mean, I will, just to defend my past characters, disaster artist, he's a sweet guy. Nerve, on the surface, you're like, ooh, this guy's maybe, we don't know about this guy, but he comes out to be a nice guy.
Good heart.
Yeah.
It's just kind of more fun sometimes to play these just guys who fall in this gray area where you don't quite know if they're good or bad.
We all actually
Yes,
come from horror and come from playing mostly the horror genre. We had all just finished shooting horror movies.
That's right.
And so we come into this genre and we're all visitors in romance and we're like, are we doing this right? We know how to set up the scare, building the momentum towards a scare is something we've all done a lot as actors, but setting up the moments before a romantic one is something we didn't have experience doing, any of us. So we all had to learn how to do that.
And it was really just about, it's just about chemistry in these movies. And it's just like,
Totally.
if that works, the movie will work. And luckily, we all just get along extremely well. And hopefully it shows on screen.
Yeah.
Yes, it's amazing. It was amazing watching you guys in this kind of movies because I only watch the ones with you in horror genres. So it's amazing. It was awesome to watch it. And since you mentioned Colleen, I know that adapting one of her stories means working with a lot of emotions and a very passionate fan base. So, was there a particular moment from the book that was especially challenging to bring to life?
No, I mean, but there were really exciting moments to bring to life, like Allison pulling up in the car where McKenna and Mason had been smoking pot, and it's like
Yeah.
that's a moment that really happened to Colleen Hoover when she was younger, and it was a story that her mom actually did that. So, and the door actually hit her mom's door and all that. So, like, it was more just stuff like that. Because I remember on my first movie, Stuck in Love was very autobiographical and had a lot of stuff from my own life in it. And it was funny to think of these things that had happened to Colleen so long ago that were real, that we were kind of bringing to life now, you know?
You think that you would say right now that from now on you will give more chances to the nice guy and good mom roles?
I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I I'm trying to like find like different ways, like think about different ways to explore the nice guy character, because like you also don't want them to just be like this perfect person where, without giving anything away, you know, Jonah, he's doing a lot of things right, but there is something, he does make a kind of terrible decision in the middle of the movie that even if you kind of judge him, it gives him some layers. And it
Definitely.
makes it so he's not just this kind of
Definitely.
like down the middle person.
No, it's not fun to play anyone who's one dimension.
Exactly.
That's like super boring. It's all about like the arc, and also a good mom character. Like, first of all, anyone who's managing to raise parents is killing it for the most part, with some really intense exceptions, but it's so hard. But also for Morgan, like at the beginning of the movie, she's a pretty good mom. She just like, she becomes better by the end. And I think what's interesting to play, what made her interesting to me, is the self-knowledge that happens through the course of the movie. So she sort of gets to know herself and become more who she is through the course of the movie. But yeah, having played like truly evil characters, like or I've gone the other direction from like really nice and sweet and innocent seeming to evil, or like someone who just doesn't connect with other people. It was nice to do this. It felt good. Yeah.
And one of the things that I loved about the movie is how the two main stories complete each other, because we have this coming of age part with Claire and Miller, and also this very intense story with Morgan, Jonah, Chris, and Jenny. So how did you bring these two worlds together in such a natural way?
I mean, I think it has to do with all the actors making the same movie, meaning everybody's playing the same song, you know? So, you know, whatever, when I decide I'm going to do a movie or I write a movie or whatever, I always make a soundtrack. And so I do that before I've even made the movie, and most of those songs will end up in the movie. And you share that soundtrack with everybody, and hopefully everybody wants to play the same song together. So it's like, I still think that's the balance you're talking about, is it's a tonal balance between actors who are sympathetic to each other and their performing styles and everything else. So you're just trying to create, you know, something that feels real. It's an imitation of life, but you're trying to do the best version of that you can.
Perfect. And Josh, to wrap things up, if you could describe the movie's message in one sentence, what would it be?
You know, that your parents were teenagers like you before you were, and it's like there's going to come a moment in every teenager's life where they realize that their parents are fallible and that their parents are not perfect. And you know, I think those really make for very interesting transitional times in young people's lives. So I always think that it's a good stew to make a movie in. So, and again, mostly again, the love between a mother and a daughter, and the sacrifices that moms make for their daughters that they're not aware of. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Josh. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, amazing, guys. Thank you so much. I love talking to you both.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.